Recording.
Oh, are you recording? I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
What are you
I'm
doing? Showing
sorry.
off your aluminium business
Yeah,
cards.
just showing off my aluminium business cards. Yeah,
Oh, lovely. Did you print that
yeah,
yourself?
yeah. Made it all myself, mate.
Oh, excellent.
Just to show what poorly brother engraving's all about, really.
Nice stuff.
I
So
like
I'm guessing that today's episode of To the Byline is
it.
sponsored by Paulie Brother Engraving.
Sponsored by poorly brother engraving. Yeah, get at me for all your laser engraving and cutting needs.
Ah, excellent. Right. Anyway, so welcome to today's episode of To the Byline.
I haven't finished making me a cup of tea.
Oh, for God's sake.
I'll just sit with it in front of me now.
Hello and welcome back to the Byline. I'm joined again by Ben and Paul, and we have got some new news basically coming out of St Andrews about the new Birmingham City buyout. But before we dive into that, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who watched the last video, everyone who liked it, subscribed, everyone who posted a comment as well. Obviously, your guys' support means a lot to us, and it's basically showing us that we're going in the right direction of things that you want to actually listen to and hear our opinions on it. But as always, if there's a if there's a topic that you'd like us to discuss in the future, if you agree with what we say, if you disagree, let us know in the comments. We do read all of them, and we're more than happy to start discussing any topics that you can think of in future episodes. But let's just dive straight into it. So the
Can I
noise,
just add something there?
of course you can.
Unless you're Villa.
Yeah, Paul said it well. So let's, with that out the way, let's just jump straight into it. So there's news that's coming out of Birmingham City today. And the news is that Tom Wagner will pay BSHL a bonus if Birmingham City win promotion. So this bonus is set to be around £15 million. And it's if Birmingham City can get promoted to the Premier League in 2 seasons. And the way the payment is going to be structured is it's 7.5 million if they get promoted, and then an additional 3.5 million for the subsequent seasons that they stay in the Premier League. So I'm going to pass it over to you. Start with you, Paul. What's your opinion on this?
My opinion is that it's just a way to get them to sell the club quicker. Just offer them the money, so they go, "Yep, we'll take that. We'll get it all signed over, and we can be out of there. We get 15 million if they go up." But I don't think it's something that they're looking at to do in the next 2 years. I don't think promotion will be on the cards for the stadium. Has to be fixed. The infrastructure has to be fixed. There needs a new training ground. Everything. I think everything else has to be in place before they even consider going up. I don't think it's. I think it's just there to be a little carrot to dangle in front of their noses to go, yeah, yeah, we'll take that. We'll have that.
Yeah, I think the thing that I would think is if they're offering to pay 15 million if Blues get promoted, don't get Blues promoted, then you save yourself 15 million quid.
But the other side of it as well is if you do get promoted, the 15 million quid is a drop in the ocean, and after you've got money coming because your gates will go up. But again, there's no point in your gates getting higher if you ain't got a stadium to fit everyone into.
Yeah. Ben, pass it over to you. What's your thoughts on this?
Largely agree with Paul. I think there's 2 different ways to look at it. So in the previous video, we spoke a lot about how serious are their investments and how serious in terms of time frames that they want to get into the Premier League or where they want to be. And I think one thing that I said was if they're going to go for this 2-year quick thing of spending money and get promoted, then obviously that could back up what they're doing here. If they're genuinely positive and think that we can do that, then okay. But I don't know, it's a bit strange, isn't it? Because I feel like if they do that, then the amount of money they're going to spend over the next 2 years, so transfers, rebuilding the whole squad, we need a good spine in there, we need depth, we need the stadium fixing, and then they're going to spend another £15 million if you got promoted. Like it's an awful lot of money for 2 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think as well, this also comes with the announcement that they're willing to pay, I think it's 18.75 million to help cover the profit loss of Birmingham City with Blues having made a pre-tax loss of 24.8 million as of the 2022, and no idea what the losses are going to be this season, but I'm assuming they're going to be more, offering the 18.75 million if they're willing to have everything signed, sealed, delivered, and the deal is done before June the 30th. So I think it's just more signs of how determined they are basically to get into the club, which I think if you're a fan of the club, it's great. Obviously, it means that that you're getting rid of BSHL. The new owners are going to come in. It shows that they've got an investment that they want to put into the club, and I think that it's only a positive thing.
Yeah, I mean, we also saw positive signs though with Paul Richardson and Maxi Lopez, and obviously they got fined because they submitted the details or the forms or whatever it was too soon for EFL's liking, and that could be another reason why Tom Wagner just thinks, you know what, let's just get it done. I don't want to hang around. Let's get them out by the end of June. You know, start of obviously pre-season, etc. And let's go and get it. So it's nice to hear from a Blues fan's perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And sticking with Knighthead, there's also talk today that former Manchester City employee Garry Cook is looking to join the Blues, basically the Blues staff. He was at the Sheffield United game, and it looks a lot like he's going to be joining the Birmingham City board in some capacity. We're not 100% sure yet on what that is. But Garry Cook, in case you're not aware, he was the chief executive of Man City. He oversaw the sale to the Abu Dhabi group, and he's also been responsible for some of the signings that they've made with players such as Vincent Kompany, Pablo Zabaleta, and various others as well. So Ben, I'll start with you this time. What's your thoughts on that?
It can only be a good thing, right? We've got someone with a breadth of experience who understands how to run a business, let alone a club, run a business, coming in to hopefully steady the ship and drive us in the right direction. I'm not saying that he's going to get all these players with Blues, but if he can offer advice and experience in that process as well, for me, it's only a good thing.
Yeah, I don't imagine that Blues are going to be signing players with basically the like of Vincent Kompany just yet. But obviously, if he has got an eye for these sorts of players, then he could only be a positive thing for him to start to bring them in. Paul, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I think it can only be a positive thing. He's been a part of some pretty big organisations and worked for Nike on the Jordan brand and worked for the UFC, and he's currently the CEO of the Saudi League. Is it? I think he is. He's definitely football. Knows a bit of football. Knows some sport. Like it can only be a positive, and everything at the moment is a positive to what we've had. Like nobody ever wants Dong Ren back, do they?
Well, I think one of the concerns that you said last time, Paul, was that this guy has he's been watching Peaky Blinders. He's heard about St Andrews on there.
Yeah, but that is my worry was we were just going to be some sort of plaything, and but I think that's a worry. Anytime somebody who isn't British or isn't from a country that is big on football, that's going to happen. I think Chelsea fans felt the same when Abramovich took over. They just thought, oh, this is a Russian billionaire who's going to play with the club for a little while, and then when he gets bored, we're going to have no money and we're going to be stuck. And that's what worries me is that he just. To be fair, I'm not as worried now after I've read all the things over the last couple of days, the statements he's put out and things like that. It's sort of he says all the right things, and I don't think we are going to be just a little plaything.
Would you
I think
think that with him surrounding himself with people like Garry Cook who are football people, would that ease your concerns?
yeah, not just football people though, Birmingham people. Like he was born in Birmingham, and from what I
Yeah.
was reading earlier, he's a Birmingham City fan. So that's what I think. That's what I think he needs. I don't want him to come in and just be like, "Oh, I like the Peaky Blinders, so I'm gonna do this and make it all about Peaky Blinder fan days." And the fans dressing up as does my head in anyway. So
Yeah.
like, I just think
It's so true, though.
Apologies
bring back,
to anyone who
bring
wears Peaky
yeah,
Blinders clothes.
Yeah, yeah.
sorry if you dress as a Peaky Blinder down the Blues. apologise.
Yeah.
Go back to the away days, last game of the season, last away game of the season where it was fancy dress. Like, I loved that. People going in fancy dress, seeing all the mad fancy dress costumes. But now you just go and there's like 8,000 Peaky Blinders. You just like, let's just, I just find it a little bit embarrassing that we've made that connection to, we've dressed up as Peaky Blinders. It's like Manchester-based teams dressing up as people at Coronation Street.
I go scalp that all day.
Yeah, the London clubs
Imagine
all
that.
going as Peggy Mitchell.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. I think
Also, I don't want now is our comment section just full of, well, he looks like Phil Mitchell, so what's he saying that for?
You can say Grant though if you want.
Yeah. What's Max Branning on about?
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, well, I think that with the whole Peaky Blinders thing, I think it gets a little bit embarrassing when anywhere you go in Birmingham City, there's like Peaky Blinders pubs, Peaky Blinders whiskey, Peaky Blinders everything.
Yeah,
Is like,
but if it brings a load of fans from abroad and we end up with a load more money from it, then it's hard to knock it, isn't it? Because it's
Yeah.
only going to be a benefit to the Blues. It's just I find it a little bit embarrassing, but obviously there's thousands of Blues fans that don't find it embarrassing and they love it.
I think it's nice if you're a fan and you can get behind something like that and support the club in a certain way. But going back on topic, I think this kind of deal to bring in someone like Garry Cook, as you say, he is a Birmingham City fan. He was born in Birmingham. I think he moved to America at a young age. But his knowledge of football club, the day-to-day running of football clubs, especially with someone like Man City, I think when the takeover of Man City happened, he stayed at the club as well, and he was there overseeing some of the new transfers, the money that's been spent.
Helped the whole thing transition, didn't he? Helped
Yeah.
the whole transitional period, and
I
I
think
think that's a good thing that we can. It's a good thing that he's been in a club where takeovers has happened, so he can help ease that transition for us.
yeah, I think it's only a positive thing. And staying on the subject of transfers, actually. So today, Birmingham have been linked with 2 new signings. So the end of the season for Blues is very, very new, and yet the transfer mill, rumor mill, whatever you want to call it, is already running in overdrive. So the first one, I want to get your opinion on. Blues are apparently interested in Cheltenham forward Alfie May. So I'll start with you, Ben, on this one. What's your thoughts on this?
I mean, if we strip it all back, Blues need someone who can put the ball in the back of the net. And for Cheltenham, he's got 20 league goals, 23 league goals, or something like that. And if you 20 league goals, yeah. So if you look at our strikers, obviously Hogan was top with 11. I'd say Djukovic probably he got 6 or 7, and maybe Dini 2 or 3 or something. So he's got as many as all of our strikers put together. So if we can get someone in that puts the ball in the net, I'm for it. But he's 29. And if we are going to get money, I don't know if we are, but if we are going to get money, do we really want to get a player like that in, given the fact that the other clubs that are interested are lower league as well? So obviously Wrexham, who just come up, probably going to be linked to everyone, but Wrexham, Ipswich, who just come
probably
to
paying more money than we will.
Probably.
We've got that mulling on about $6,000 a week in non-league, haven't they? So.
Yeah, well,
but I'm on the fence with it. I'm 50-50 with it, to be honest.
I would have him 2 seasons ago or last season. I think we got to look a little bit higher for next season. If you want to progress and we're going to be back, then I'd be looking at players a little bit better than. Well, I say better, and that's no disrespect to Alfie May, but 20 goals in League One doesn't mean you're going to go and score 20 goals in the Championship. And at 29. I want someone with a few more. You go and pay for him now. You're not going to get any money out of him. He's only going to cost less than what you buy. We'll bring him in on a free. He might be in the last year of his contract, so he might be on a free.
Yeah, well, apparently he has told Cheltenham that he wants to leave. So
if he's on a free, then maybe you take a chance on him. But I just think buying a striker at 29, when we need to bring in so many other players, I don't think he's the player that I would be going for.
Yeah. I think the one thing that concerns me, or at least it would concern me, is when you look at the clubs that he's played for in the past. The only two that would be sort of what you consider to be bigger clubs would be Cheltenham and Doncaster. Before that, it was Hive Town, Farnborough, Erith and Belverde, Bromley, Chatham Town, and Billericay. So he's never.
And for them teams,
Yeah,
it
he
was
he
it
wasn't.
was it was 34 goals was his best return, and that was in 2014-15 in the
Yeah.
Southern Counties East League.
Yeah, for
He's
Doncaster.
only ever scored.
Yeah, for Doncaster in 92 appearances, he scored 10 goals.
Yeah,
So his current club, Cheltenham, now he's got his. It's not his best record. I think at Erith and Belverde, it was 45 games, 38 goals. For Cheltenham, he's played 140 games and scored 57 goals. So is it a case of he's had one decent season in League One, so he's just been linked everywhere? Do you think? I suppose what I'm asking is, do you think it's a genuine interest from Birmingham, or with Birmingham's transfer track record, we're just going to get linked with pretty much every
I
player?
think he's someone that we would have been, because I think we've been linked with him before. So I think it's someone that we've looked that we've been linked with before the takeover.
Yeah,
Before the takeover, I probably would have had him, but
yeah.
now that the takeover's
Mm,
happened, I just don't think that he's what
yeah.
I'd be going for.
I think you are going to.
Millwall are looking at him as well. I can see here Millwall, Wrexham, Wednesday. They're the teams that I can see that are.
Yeah. I think what we will find with Blues now is any striker that scored more than 10 goals this season, we're probably going to be somewhat linked to them.
Every season we get we get linked with
Yeah.
anyone who's in League One or League Two that scored 20 odd goals. They go, "Oh, the Blues will buy him." We get
Yeah.
linked with them every season.
But
And then
if he was
we
20,
buy
if
them
he
and they
was,
score two
well, yeah, there is that. If he was 24, 25,
all day
I'd
long.
say, yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
and do
all
it.
day long. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know when he's 30. He might be 30 before the season starts, right? But
Why do you
coming in
buy
for
him a
29,
car?
probably if he joins, yeah. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to bring in a 29 or 30-year-old,
July, 2nd of July.
So
there you
he's
go.
30
Then. So he'll be
soon.
30 before the end. Yeah. So he's not an improvement on what we've got, is he? We might
Yeah,
as well
and
just keep having
it's not something that you would be saying, oh, we're looking at long term to see what he can
Yeah,
do.
you're not
Like,
breaking the bank for him, are you? You're not.
it. No.
yeah,
But I
and
agree with Paul. If we get him for free, then I'll take him.
okay. And then the next transfer the Blues have been linked to is Jan Danda. So, 24-year-old, used to play in the Championship before with Swansea, but then he moved to Scotland, where I believe he's been playing for Ross County. Start with you, Paul. What's your opinion on this one?
I think we love taking players from the Scottish League. If I'm honest, I don't really know him. I don't.
Well, I believe he
not really.
started his youth career at West Brom, then went to Liverpool. From Liverpool, he then joined Swansea, played 50 games for Swansea, scored 5 goals. Then moved to Ross County, where this season he scored 3 goals but had 12 goal contributions in total. Ben, have you any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I quite like Yandanda, and when he was at Swansea for the 3 years or whatever it was, like he's just a good player, and he kind of sits there behind the strikers. He's not a goal scorer, as what you would class, but
Well-
certainly assists. And
Well, yeah, 76 appearances, 76 senior team appearances, and he scored 8 goals. So I wouldn't class him as a goal scorer.
Yeah, but I think it's something different because, I mean, I guess the closest alternate in our squad right now is maybe George Hall, and I for one would give George Hall a lot of time next season. But I feel like him coming in at 24 years old, Yandanda, I think it would be a good one. Yeah, I don't think I'd spend over the odds for him, but if he's only valued at like
I think
less than $1 million.
I think if he's not better than George Hall, then I don't see the point in getting him.
It depends how we play next season as well. Because if we go to the 4-3-3 that Eustace likes playing, or the preferred way based on previous teams, then he probably wouldn't fit in there. But if he plays with a Cam or the 5-2-1-2 as he's played this season, then I think he'd be a good option.
My question is, excluding the loans that Birmingham have got at the moment, which players would you say could play in that Cam position?
For the Blues,
Yeah, for the Blues.
Job, George Hall,
Maybe Maybe
Chong?
Bakuna.
Chong?
Bakuna. Chong possibly, yeah. I think he played Chong more down the middle.
End of the Bowyer days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So would you put this guy above any of those? And if you
I
brought him
don't, I
in,
don't, I don't know enough about him to but from what I've seen for Bakuna and Chong, and then I don't think I would. But I don't know enough to say definitely if I would have him or not. I think what we need in the midfield is someone who's a experienced championship midfielder, someone who can help guide the young lads through a game. And if he's not going to do that, then I can't see.
Well, I hear James Milner's up on a free at the end of the season.
He's going Brighton though, isn't he?
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, he turned down a contract offer from Everton.
I'd have James Milner all day long down the Blues without a second thought. I'd piggyback him there now.
I don't think he needs piggybacking. Have you seen him?
He can piggyback me then. Don't worry about it.
He's ripped. I think when I looked at these two transfers, my first thought was these wouldn't be the positions that I think Blues needed straight away. I think the defense is probably the one area
We're going out for defenders, yeah. We're screaming for defenders.
I think looking at attacking players for Blues now, it's like we don't need. Well, we do need it, but it's not a matter of urgency. Get the defense
order. Is what we need. We need somebody in the midfield with a bit of a killer instinct that can regularly play. Because Bakuna gives you an 8 out of 10 every other week. It's not consistent enough.
Yeah.
And then Chong's the same. Chong will give you a really good game, then you'll have a really off game, then you'll have a really good game. So I think what we need is somebody with really good championship experience to just sort of bring them younger lads into it and just start getting Jordan James and Alfie Chang and George Hall and Joe Ball on the pitch with someone who can go when he sees them wondering or when they just need a little word, they can just turn around to him and go, "Come on, boys, this is what you need to do now. This is how we need to do it."
Yeah.
But with Yandanda as well, he can also play left wing. And if you look who we've got at the moment, it's Kadra, who's obviously going to go back to Brighton. So maybe there is a space for him there.
I like Longhello on the wing, order.
Well, maybe there's an opportunity for us to post an end of season review where we go through each player that Blues currently have and give our thoughts and opinions on that. So if that's an idea that you'd like us to do, let us know in the comments. We can analyze the current squad, look at the areas that we would strengthen personally and things like that. But yeah, so those are the new topics that are coming out of Birmingham. Again, a massive thank you to everyone who watched, liked, subscribed, commented on the last video. Do the same again. If you like this video, let us know by dropping a like. If there's anything you'd like us to discuss, if you agree with what we've said today, if you disagree with what we've said today, let us know in the comments. And of course, subscribe to be notified when we next upload. So from myself, thank you again for watching, and I'll let you guys sign off as well.
Cheers. Click the little bell end.
Yeah. So thanks everyone. Up the Blues.
Up the Villa.
Up the Blues.
Yeah. So keep right on.